when I think back, I almost feel like this did not happen because it's just hard to believe that's what I experienced. We went to a fort that is almost like out of movies. The gate opened, we go inside, there are lots of little rooms around this fort inside of it, there are people living there, and we were in that fort for about 4 hours. Then the smuggler said that, okay, there's a bus outside, you're gonna get on that bus. We walked out. Now there's sand as far as you can see. This fort is in the middle of nowhere. The only thing I can see beside the fort is a Coca-Cola stand with a sand-bitten sign that's just going swinging back and forth and is making the noise that it would make. I got on this bus that there were a lot of people on it, even on the top of the bus. There were goats, chickens, there were no real seats, there were benches on this bus. And this bus traveled on this dirt road literally no more than 20 miles an hour. You could jump off and on and it would have been fine. We kept going on this bus for about a day and a half. And after a day and a half, they said, you got to get off the bus and go on a hike because there are border guards and they're going to stop and they're going to arrest you. So I went on this hike with 10 other people. I have no idea why they were escaping. Not all Iranian. God knows what kind of bad thing they had done. So we went on this hike, and again, this is one of the hottest places on earth in July, and we have no water, no food with us. So we go for about an hour. There's this stream of really muddy water, and everybody drinks, and they told me, drink. I said, no, I'm gonna get sick if I drink that. I did not. An hour later, I was literally dying from thirst. And now I saw something that to this day, I don't know if I was hallucinating or if that really happened. What I saw was a tree, and there was a little bit of water standing under that tree. I ran towards that. I jumped face down, and I just drank as much water as I could with worms, with bugs, everything going in my mouth. I did not care because I was going to literally die. We hiked for another 3-4 hours and got to the other side of this mountain. And our bus was there waiting for us. I guess you can trust smugglers after all. The bus was waiting for us. We got on that bus. We went on for another day. Got to a place that the smugglers and the government officials had gone into a fight. So they were shooting at each other, and there were cars piled up while there was a battle going on the side. And they would bring people who were wounded on the bus. And I remember far away, I saw a UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees car. And I thought, should I run to that car? Thought maybe I'm safer in the bus. Anyhow, I was on that bus for about 40 hours. Finally, we got to the major border town in Pakistan called Quetta. They took us to this little motel that they would take all Bahai refugees there. And I walked into this room in Quetta, and it was almost like a prison room that people had carved stuff on the walls about their experiences, what they went through, what trust, what not to trust. The good news was that being a Bahai, there are Bahai communities and what we call local spiritual assemblies almost everywhere in the world. So we call the Baha'is of Quetta. They showed up. They brought us Pakistani clothing so we wouldn't stand out. They brought us some food. And the next morning they took us to the UN office to get us temporary asylum paperwork. We got that. We spent a week in Quetta and then got on a train and traveled for 24 hours the length of Pakistan to Lahore, where I spent the next 12 months. And my brother and my sister were already there who had escaped Iran a year earlier. So I united with them, reunited with them. And I spent the next year in Pakistan, and then ultimately got permanent asylum from the UN, which meant I then could apply to go to the countries who accepted the Baha'is. US was one of them, and Ronald Reagan at the time understood the situation of the Baha'is in Iran, and had very much of an open door policy for Baha'is. So I remember going to the US Embassy in Pakistan. If you've seen the show Homeland, you probably have seen images of that embassy or the new building that they have now in Pakistan. And I went there and I remember the US military personnel in the front, they asked me to wait. They asked me what did I want. I said, I want to go to the US. They asked me to wait. They invited me inside and they told me that they're going to assign a lawyer that they will pay for to fight for my admittance to the US. That's the first time in my life that I experienced real human rights. And that was not by my birth country, but by a country on the other side of the world that had no reason to stand up for me. And they chose to stand up for the rights of this 16-year-old who could have been a roadkill from Iran to Pakistan, along the emptiness desert, along one of the worst borders you can find in the world, showing up at their doorstep. And they chose to stand up for the rights of this 16-year-old, and that's what they did. They paid a lawyer to fight for admittance for me to the US, and that's exactly what happened. I was able to get the permanent residency from the US as a refugee. And once I received my refugee status from the US and admittance to the US, somebody had to pay for me to come to the US. Somebody had to buy my ticket. And a Catholic charity out of New York bought my ticket. And my brother and I ended up flying from Pakistan to San Francisco and landed in San Francisco on June 20th, 1988 with $75 in our pockets.